Cliff Richard, born Harry Roger Webb on October 14, 1940, in Lucknow, India, is one of the most beloved figures in British popular music history. His family moved back to England in 1948, following Indian independence, where young Cliff faced the challenges of post-war Britain. Growing up in modest surroundings in Cheshunt, Hertfordshire, Cliff developed a deep passion for American rock and roll, particularly the music of Elvis Presley and Little Richard. This love for music would serve as the spark that turned an ordinary boy into one of the UK's greatest musical icons. By the late 1950s, Cliff had helped shape British rock and roll, even before the Beatles rose to fame. His 1958 debut single, Move It, is widely regarded as the first true British rock and roll song, establishing him as the UK's answer to Elvis Presley. Rise to stardom, Cliff Richard and the Shadows. Cliff Richard's rise to stardom came quickly. After the success of Move It, he formed his backing band, The Drifters, which was later renamed The Shadows. Together, they created a distinctive sound that blended Cliff's smooth vocals with the Shadows' instrumental brilliance. This partnership led to a string of hits, including Living Doll, Please Don't Tease, and The Young Ones, all of which captured the spirit of 1960s youth culture. Cliff became a teen idol, the face of a new British musical movement. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Cliff didn't fade as the British music scene evolved. He maintained his relevance throughout the 1960s, shifting seamlessly from rock and roll to pop ballads, even experimenting with gospel music in the latter part of the decade. Enduring popularity and versatility, Cliff Richard's longevity as a popular artist is remarkable. Even as the music scene changed in the 1960s, Cliff adapted, remaining a relevant and respected figure in the industry. His clean-cut image and versatile voice allowed him to move between different musical genres, from rock and roll to pop ballads, and later, even to gospel music. In 1968, his performance of Congratulations in the Eurovision Song Contest not only made him a worldwide favorite, but also cemented his place in music history. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, he experienced a resurgence, releasing hits like Devil Woman and We Don't Talk Anymore. Cliff's ability to reinvent himself while staying true to his wholesome persona set him apart from many of his peers, making him one of the most enduring figures in British music. Cliff Richard's faith and spirituality. Cliff Richard's faith played a central role in shaping his music and his career. He converted to Christianity in the mid-1960s, a decision that deeply influenced his music and public persona. His spirituality gave him a moral compass that resonated with millions of fans worldwide. Over the years, Cliff has released several gospel albums, reflecting his strong Christian beliefs. However, his ability to blend spirituality with his music set him apart in the industry. Unlike many of his contemporaries who thrived on controversy, Cliff relied on his passion for music and his faith to maintain a positive public image. His deep sense of devotion and dedication to his beliefs garnered respect, not just in the music world, but also among people from various walks of life. Cliff Richard's private life and humility. Despite being a household name, Cliff Richard has always remained a private man. He has never married, choosing instead to focus on his music, friendships, and faith. His humility and kindness have endeared him to fans and peers alike. Known for being punctual, prepared, and respectful, Cliff has maintained an unblemished reputation in an industry often marked by scandal and excess. He divides his time between homes in the UK, Barbados, and Portugal, enjoying a quieter life away from the spotlight when not performing. Yet even in his later years, Cliff's enthusiasm for music has remained undiminished. His concerts, filled with nostalgia and joy, showcase an artist who continues to connect with fans around the world, celebrating his decades-long career. Cliff Richard's continued musical success. In recent years, Cliff Richard has proven that his musical magic has not faded with time. In November 2013, he released the fabulous Rock and Roll Songbook, a tribute to the golden era of rock and roll. The album was a success, soaring to number 7 on the UK Albums Chart and earning a gold certification. This marked yet another milestone in his career, reaffirming that Cliff Richard is still one of Britain's most beloved musical icons. In 2016, he followed up with Just Fabulous Rock and Roll, which continued the celebration of the music that shaped his career. The album's success further demonstrated his enduring popularity, climbing to number 4 on the UK Albums Chart and selling over 100,000 copies. Cliff's ability to reinterpret classic rock and roll songs while adding his personal touch kept his music fresh and exciting for fans of all ages. A return to songwriting, Rise Up, and music. The Air That I Breathe. Cliff Richard's resilience as an artist continued into the 2000s with the release of Rise Up in 2018, his first album of original material in nearly 14 years. The album's title reflected his unyielding spirit and his ability to overcome challenges. The uplifting themes and dynamic sound of the album earned praise from fans and critics alike, and it climbed into the UK Top 10. This was followed by Music, The Air That I Breathe in 2020, a beautifully curated collection that showcased his versatility as an artist. Cliff's ability to reinvigorate his sound and continue to connect with his audience is a testament to his enduring relevance in the music industry. These albums proved that Cliff Richard's artistry transcends generations, and his place in the history of British music remains firmly established. Cliff Richard's 2022 Christmas album in 2022, Cliff Richard released Christmas with Cliff, a heartwarming holiday album that blended festive cheer with his signature elegance and sincerity. The album was a beautiful reminder of Cliff's ability to evoke emotion through his music, no matter the season. Whether it's through a Christmas carol or a classic rock hit, his voice continues to resonate deeply with fans. This album marked another successful chapter in Cliff's long career, showing that even after more than 60 years in the industry, he can still release music that feels both fresh and timeless, reflecting on a life well lived. Cliff's friendship with George Harrison. Now at 85, Cliff Richard looks back on his extraordinary life with reflection and honesty. One of the most profound relationships in his life was with George Harrison, the quiet Beatle whose music and spirituality deeply influenced Cliff. The two first met in the early 1960s, when George and the Beatles were rising stars, and Cliff was already a household name. Despite their fame, their friendship was rooted in mutual respect for each other's artistry and spirituality. Both men were deeply introspective with Cliff's faith in Christianity and George's interest in Eastern philosophy and meditation. The connection between them was not just professional, but also personal, and their conversations about God, love, and peace were some of the most meaningful moments in Cliff's life. The spiritual bond between Cliff and George Harrison. Cliff fondly remembers the moments he spent with George, particularly their shared discussions about spirituality. While their beliefs differed, the respect between them was unwavering. Cliff recalls George telling him, "All paths lead to the same place if your heart is right." These conversations became some of the most profound exchanges of Cliff's life. And George's search for inner peace deeply influenced Cliff's music. Cliff always admired George's ability to step away from the limelight, embracing a quieter, more peaceful life. George's courage to find peace outside of fame inspired Cliff in many ways. In hindsight, Cliff admits that he envied George's ability to walk away from the chaos of fame and find solace in his garden and music. George Harrison's legacy and Cliff's gratitude. The loss of George Harrison in 2001 hit Cliff harder than expected. Although they didn't see each other regularly, George's presence in Cliff's life was lasting. George's spirituality and humility left a deep impression on Cliff. And he continues to admire the legacy of peace and love that George left behind. For Cliff, George's ability to stay true to his spirit, even in the face of overwhelming fame, was a reminder of the power of inner peace. In his twilight years, Cliff Richard reflects on his friendship with George Harrison with deep gratitude. "We were two very different souls walking the same road," Cliff says, acknowledging the unique bond they shared. Now, as an 85-year-old man, Cliff is thankful for the quiet friendship that transcended fame, music, and even religion.